Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Monday, April 5th, 2021, and today's topic is called Sky So Fly. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening March 24th through April 2nd, 2021. And before we get into those sky observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, tien dobre, konnichiwa, dobrohonya, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, galimera, and hudendag. And today's starter image is just of some remaining incense I was burning, a beautiful assortment of lavender, rose, orange, and tangerine combined. And it just prompted me to look up some medicinal uses of the rose, which I found in an interesting article posted in healingwithplants.us. Anyway, they say that roses, every part, the leaves, petals, hips, and roots, have edible and medicinal uses. Some of the medical properties include that it's an antidepressant, antispasmodic, aphrodisiac, astringent, antibacterial, antiviral, antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, blood tonic, cleansing, digestive stimulant, and the list goes on. So I'll leave the rest up to you to have a look around. They do also include a whole list of which rose species are edible. It's very interesting. So anyway, take a good look and let's get going with the sky observations. So as we begin, I always like to say a heartfelt thanks for being here on this channel and welcome, whether you're new or returning. And if you are new, I go over some slides here, some photos, which I term as either original or enhanced. When I say enhanced, I've kept the photo in its original state. All I've done is edited attributes of the photo, such as contrast, brightness, color saturation, things of that nature. Just a little bit to draw out, kind of highlight some of the areas of discussion. I also drop in some letters, as you see here, just to help us focus, and it's actually a nice reminder for me of what to cover. And usually it's just some key elements that pop out right away to me. In some of these photos, some more than others, there's going to be a whole lot of action going on in there, things that I don't even get to, can't label and discuss or highlight. So if there's something that I pass over that you would really love to see, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to bring that up and enhance it and include it in a future show. Anyway, let's get going. So in this scene, this is at sunrise looking east-northeast. It doesn't look like too much at first glance, but we're going to look at this with some enhancement. Hang on one second, let me go back. We're going to look at this with some enhancement because kind of like a little story unfolds. So we're starting to the northeast and we're moving over toward the east, and you see this kind of arc of movement. Other little characters are going to pop up in some future slides. There seems to be a story unfolding here, and I'll explain why in a minute. So at A, we have a triangular shape hiding in here, another little shape, and just certain things just look kind of odd in this overall scene. So we're going to put some enhancement on it. Now A.1 and B.1, I've just taken all color out of here. Sometimes it helps us see things in a different way. And here, just see this triangular form emerging, and it looks like something solid is hiding in here. Now, whether that's two separate little chunks of something or one larger object, it's hard to say. We'll get to that in a minute. And when I go up here, we're going to look at A2 and B2. You just definitely see a clear triangular shape pop out. Now, I need to back up a step. I didn't explain on this round. I have on other shows. But when I'm looking at these things, I'm putting clouds and quotes because I suspect there's cloaking craft or cloaking objects hiding in this what I call plasma as cloaking material. That's my go-to because it's just referring to something heavier and denser than water vapor and something that lingers in the sky much longer. And that's what we're referring to. And when I say it could be cloaking objects, it could be sensors, it could be any other kind of tech, man-made, military, or ET-made, extraterrestrial-made, or a combination of both. And that's what I am referring to. Now, when I say a cloaking craft, it could be something that's very 3D, three-dimensional, something hard and tactile. You could actually knock on it, something very tangible. Or it could be something that's interdimensional, that's very kind of more ephemeral, ethereal, and kind of ghost-like and phases in and out of state. Or it could be a 3D object that's in the middle of phasing in and out. Could be a whole host of things. So I'm going to give you my perspective, and then you see what you see in any of these photos going forward. So here we go. Now we're moving toward here. If you look at the lower photo, that's that triangle we were looking at. So now we're going to look at this C.1 element. And again, I took the color out, just to look at it in a different way. And we start to see shadows. So this thing has a definite tight density to it. To me, that's a mass with something cloaking over it. And there's still stuff going on here we'll get to in a second. But when we go up to the upper photo, again, you just see some clear edges, a little bit of shadow happening in there. So let's move on. Now we're going more toward the east of that scene, and we have E and F. Now this is interesting because this looks like something opening up. There's a sharp angle where my cursor is this way, and there's another angle here of something happening. And it looks like something is shooting out of this. If this were like the mouth of a crane or a bird, that's what it reminds me of. If that's the head and the eyes. And this looks like the beak that's open, in open position. Sorry, I'm trying to get my cursor here. So we're going to look at the parts above A and F here, and we're going to look at with enhancement at the bottom photo. You see E.1 and F.1. So you start to see these harder lines. You know, it just reminds me of something opening up and something shooting out, a stream. And again, this could be one or two objects. I think it's one with like a dent in it, or somehow just the shadow plays happening there. But let's look up at E.2 and F.2. So again, we've removed the color to look at this in a different way, slightly different way. The brain to, visual connection sometimes picks things up differently. If you either add color to something that didn't have it before, or take it away from a photo that did have it. And you can also do things like look at something mirrored or upside down, just, it's that kind of idea with the brain to eye connection. Anyhow, so here we go, the F element and above. So this is definitely something solid happening in here. It was something, shooting out. And I say shooting out because look over here, E is where I have that like beak-like thing opening up. And then you see a little trail of a stream of something and two objects, that G and H. So let's look at that with enhancement. We'll look at the top photo for now. So EE.1 looks like two little separate objects, a triangular form in here now above on this beak-like thing. And then look at, we still see that stream. And then we've got G.1, looks like it has a little trail to it shooting out. And so does H.1. So see what you think is going on. To me, it looks like something is shooting out of here or launching out of here. And then we go to EE.2, just to zoom in a little bit more. I know it's a little bit mappy, bear with me on that. But you start to see things in a little bit different way. Yet again, more shadow, showing that there's something definitely with dimension to it. And just again, we're looking at that little vapor stream coming out. Now we're going to look over at CC again and DD, and we're going to just kind of look at this in a little slightly different way. So again, look at this, we've got some shadow and indentations on this thing, and then we're going to look at this DD.1, which we didn't focus on before, and now we see a very clear triangular form. So that's very fascinating, I find. See what you think. Here we go now to a new scene. This is looking north now at the sunrise, and again, we're going to call it strange clouds and quotes activity at sunrise, because this just was looking odd. Not only that it's like a banked curve, but there's other stuff happening here that are more horizontal. So, why does this suddenly spring up and go into a whole different direction, from this horizontal state? That just doesn't happen in natural cloud systems. Usually they just blow over, in one direction or the other. But here we've got definite opposing motion going on. So we're going to take a look at this, and here we go. We have a little bit of dimension of something bulging out here. And this again looks like a triangular shape to me down here. And then we get this sweep up here with some disturbance. Excuse me, and I'm going to call this an object up here at 8.1. So to me it's almost like, something's lifting up here, and then this popped up out of somewhere and is taking an odd turn. But we're going to look at it even more, with more enhancement at 8.2. I just see like a separate object here. Maybe something else is happening in here. And then 8.3, again, we're just kind of looking at it with a different light, so to speak. All right, this is more strange clouds activity at sunrise, this time looking back to the east again. And we have this strange cloud mass, and it caught my attention because we have things moving off this way, something springing up this way. It just seemed to be, didn't really kind of fit as a cloud in the sky. There's also the emergence of some like crystalline structures, some very different, brighter white light happening in here. So we're going to look at this with some enhancement. Here we go. To me, there's definitely some type of craft or object trying to pop up out of here with this pure white crystalline signature, color signature. And then here at B1, we see a crystalline triangle. And I covered these crystalline triangle forms in other shows if you want to have a look at previous shows I've done. I'm not going to belabor it and touch too much more on them in this show. But anyway, this overall thing just looks like it's springing up from here. Look, we've got a vapor trail or plasma trail happening in here between these two denser objects. And it just looks like there might be something else just kind of sitting in there. But see what you think. Then we've got this more strange clouds activity at sunset, this time looking north-northwest. And this just became an undeniable object popping out in from my point of view anyway. I see an elongated triangle, fitting in within this stream, of whatever this is. I'm going to call it plasma because it's thicker and denser. It's not just water vapor or cloud material. And then we look at it with enhancement. We start to see some definite edges. We start to see like a little shape popping up that's really bright and dense. So we're going to take a look at this yet again with some more enhancement. Look at this. So definitely we've got, solidity at this tip here, whatever it is, and this is a form that's holding its form. So I'm not sure, if this overall thing is a cloaking craft or it's just this little bit that's, springing up off this leading edge. See what you think, though. It's definitely something that's not just occurring natural in the clouds, in the sky. Okay, now we're just going to look at west of that scene where we were just looking. This I'm just capturing more or less the color range. It is strange, just looks like it's either a thick plasma or it's the aerial spray, that's been being sprayed in the skies, the chemtrails, or a combination. There seems to be something a little solid poking up out of here, coming along down this ridge. So we'll just look at this with some enhancement. I'm not going to really call out too much out of here. I think I put 8.1 there just to capture that. But anyway, look at the intense colors, really beautiful and vibrant regardless of what's going on. And then we're going to look to the south in the same scene, same setting. We're going to look at A and B. These are just birds flying by, these little dots here. So we're going to look at the enhanced version on the right-hand side. Oh, hold on one second, please. Okay, I'm back. So on the right-hand side is the enhanced version. Hang on, I'm trying to get my cursor. Here we go. And so look at this odd thing. So we can look at it two ways. Either as this is the solid and something's happening within this stream, and then we've got another solid streak happening over here. Or, this is just framing a void of a triangular shape happening in there. So I'm not really sure what's going on until we start to look at B.1, because some interesting things start happening in this stream, which we will see here at BB and BB.1. So I start to see something hooking around this way, very clear semicircle, and then really fluid and irregular movement happening over here. So when we look to the right in the enhanced version, we see it a little bit better. Look at this. This is a clear semicircular, like half ring, partial ring, with something odd and amorphous happening over here. So what's going on in this scene? Your guess is as good as mine, but I'll tell you there's definitely some kind of activity happening in here. And again, I'm going to suggest cloaking craft or object activity happening in there. All right, and then later on, looking south, we have this line and another line forming. So we're going to look at this with enhancement to see that we've got another triangular shape being formed by, this, whatever's happening in here, where my cursor is, and this line. And we're going to look at it one more time just to get a better look. And look, we even have a line along the bottom. We can see it now, forming a triangle. So what the heck is going on there? Your guess, again, as good as mine. But we get some interesting warm color signatures. So I'm going to go back a second. You kind of see a pink glow. And I think, I do think that this, whatever's being created, is to help distract from the fact that we've got some bright red-pink color signatures happening in the sky that are being masked a bit. And if you look at my description box below, you'll see what some of the theories are and what could be causing this red and pink color in the sky. All right, now we're going to look at the moon, although it's kind of hard to tell if it's a sun or a moon at this point, but it is looking to the east toward 8 o'clock at night. And it was just really odd, not only the coloration of what's supposed to be the moonrise, but these were the only clouds in the eastern sky. I mean, that was it. And they were right over the moon. Hang on one second again, sorry. Okay, so that cloud and quote activity just happened to be just over exactly where the moon was. No place else in the sky. There's a little bit over here, but the predominant cloud, that was it. And I call this staccato cloud when it's choppy and fuzzy to the human eye, as it was. And staccato is a musical term, I'm sure some of you may know that. But that's just what I coined the phrase as, because it's just choppy, intermittent, kind of has no rhyme or reason to it. And then this is a little more solid down here. And then we have this, looks like there could be an object in here like shooting off from there with a trail behind it. So the overall scene was just strange. Took a photo of it, and then let's look at it with some enhancement. Here you see the choppiness, which I think, again, when I say staccato cloud activity, I believe there's some type of craft cloaking behind it, something that is generating electromagnetic wave activity or other wave activity that's just really disturbing, the local atmosphere. And, I didn't get too much at what this is, but I do still believe there's some type of cloaking object that's flying off that way, just with looking at the movement of it. And then this thing is just floating over, coincidentally in quotes, just right over where the moon is. It's just very strange. So then we're going to look at this a little split second later. This is what we get at. So this is supposed to be the moon, this round object. Yet there's cloud or plasma or some type of something, happening behind it and in front of it. There seems to be something kind of swirling in a circular form here. It was just all odd. This is the best my camera phone could do, for the evening, so it's going to be a little bit mappy, but that's all we could do. But we're going to zoom in a little bit more, and when we do, again, we see whatever's happening in front of what's supposed to be the moon and behind it. Again, this was not acting like a natural moon. It got like really small and really big with it like a drop of a hat. And then back here, 8.1, this starts to look like a solid object to me with a little trail behind it. Something else might be happening here too. So see what you think is going on there. It just felt very strange. Then we have some moonrise shots. So finally I got a moon filter for my telescope and something to hold the camera phone. So we have a little bit steadier photos. They're not going to be crystal clear, for the amount of investment I have in this tech. It's not that much, including the telescope. So it's still better than just seeing it with the camera or the naked eye. We zoomed in a little bit more, just a nice view of one area of the moon. And then I'll just show you a few other shots. Again, they're not going to be crystal clear, but not bad, I say, for just an amateur, trying this equipment out. And then here we go, just some more scenes. Get a good idea of some of the craters. And then we're going to move to this shot. It's called Sky Wisps. It's looking west-northwest towards sunset. And this was just strange because I've covered wisps in other shows, referred to it in one of the titles. This is Air Elementals. And there are many names that this could be, many things this could be. So I'm going to refer you to some of my earlier shows on that. But anyway, we've got this wisp-like activity. And then we have this just sticking up more or less vertical, out of nowhere, where everything else is moving along this way. And again, if we had a constant stream of air flowing, and it was not windy this day whatsoever, that's a whole other story of how some of these things can be moving up and over when there's no wind. But anyway, if everything is generally going this way, even if we, indulge and go with that theory, why is this then suddenly, boom, sticking straight up? So we're going to look at this with some enhancement, and here we go, and we look at this little figure, whatever's happening there. And again, I'm not sure if this is just wisps floating through on their own. It looks like something more solid tucked in there, or if they're framing something else, causing an imprint, creating an imprint, or what. But this looks solid here too, with some dimension and shadow to it. But see what you think. We're going to zoom in one more time, and I just altered some of the color saturation to change it up a bit. And here we go again. That's just a really odd form when everything is supposedly flowing this way. And again, I see little chunks and pieces happening in there. Okay, this is just more sky wisps. On the left-hand side, we just see the original, and on the right, with enhancement, we just see there's so much more than meets the eye. And again, there's been so much stuff sprayed in the sky to turn it kind of whitish instead of a nice blue, healthy blue, that it masks out some of these things, and, with intention, if you look up what chemtrails are doing. And I highly recommend a new YouTube show that came out by Dane Wigginton, and it is called The Dimming. And I don't agree with all views of everybody out there, but I do like to see what they put out and take bits and pieces of what resonates and add that to kind of like the collective library, what could be happening. And I will say that documentary, The Dimming, all about chemtrails, is excellent. I highly recommend you go check that out. Anyway, to the right, we start to see so much more when we look at the greater photo and light sensitivity range of these camera phones. We start to see so much more, and it's really wonderful to see. But as you can see too, we've got a warm, red-pink color signature happening beyond there. And again, I think this is just kind of a distraction too for what's going on beyond. And then we're going to just look at the B point of that, B2 and B3, just to look in a little more detail. It's really beautiful what's going on. I do think these things are supernatural formations, these air wisps, sky wisps, and I do think they either kind of do a cleanup on aisle 1 and clean out some of the chemtrails left in the sky. That's just a theory I'm going with for now. Alright, and here's strange clouds at sunset. This is happening toward the west, towards 7:30. And this ball was really bright red and orange. It doesn't really come out in the photo. But we're going to just take a look at it. It seems like also it was like a double ball. It seemed like something was happening above it and below. I cover that in other shows too, what could be going on there. And the idea of a solar simulator, an artificial sun, which there are patents if you go online from 1961, 1964, all the way up to current times. You'll see people applied for it and pulled actual patents for it. in this case, but go ahead and do look at other shows that I have on that, such as The Sun Is Not Alone, Objects and Other Illusions, and other people on YouTube all across the world are documenting this kind of very visible phenomenon now of the idea of an artificial sun. Anyway, it's pure white, fixed and glaring. Anyhow, that's going on here, and we're going to see what else is going on in a second. So then that disappears, gets totally masked over by sudden heavy cloud cover that seemed to pop up out of nowhere. And then we have A, B, and C. We're just looking at, look at this form. This is a deliberate, kind of like a truncated, triangular form with a crystalline structure to it. There's some activity happening up in here too, and down here. So we're going to, that kind of notches out this quote-unquote cloud. And we're going to look at that with some enhancement. And look at this pure form right here. And then something similar is trying to emerge here as well. So I'm going to say that's cloaking tech or craft. This is something happening strange in here too that's notching out this cloud in an unnatural way. Anyway, see what you think might be going on there. We're going to look at other examples. So this just started to burst out of nowhere. We were just looking at that sunset more or less over here, that ball. And then all of a sudden, this sky, this just moved in out of nowhere, this darker cloud, the atmosphere changed and shifted suddenly, very strange. So we're going to look at A. You know, there's a very cut out, clear geometrical shape, symmetrical shape here. There's a kind of a hole that was left over here. We're going to look at B. This starts to look like an arrowhead or a dart form. And so when we blow out some of the contrast and brightness, the B.1, that kind of disappears. So we're going to look up here at B2, and there you see it. Look at that. That's like an arrowhead or a dart shape. Very clear. It may be composed of a couple of objects within there, but look at the overall shape. It's very clear, and it looks like a little trail happening behind it. So I'm going to say that's a craft popping up. And then 8.1, you know, just a better look at this thing. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on in there, but we got like a waste of plasma or some other material coming in front of it. And, you know, it looks pretty symmetrical. So see what you think that might be. Then we're going to look at that hole we were looking at earlier, and don't get it too much, but what happens, what's interesting is these jagged edges seem pretty clear, and it seems like something's emerging out of that edge. Something's happening down here at C as well, so we'll look at it with enhancement. Look at C, looks like a structure to me. And then something, again, strange is popping off of this corner. And it was this corner too, when you look at it at a different view. This could be also some type of object. It looks kind of like an ellipsoidal object to me in the background. But again, see what you think about all of this. Okay, now this is looking, same scene after that strange cloud activity just swept in out of nowhere. Now we're looking to the northeast. We were looking to the west. This is east-northeast. And the color just became really intense red and pink, even though it was not happening to the west. So it's like red and pink was generating on its own from this direction to the northeast. But what caught my attention is right away at A, we have a sphere-like form, pretty pure form. B, it's a triangular form, as is D. And it looks like we have a triangular form in C as well. And something's happening over here too. So we're going to look at it with enhancement and zoom in. It's a bit bitmappy, again, bear with me, but you see it, I think. Look at A.1 is really interesting because we've got these points happening, this crystalline structure like we saw earlier. It looks like a letter A if you had a little bar across, a capital block letter. But we have points with dimension, and they're kind of hugging this thing, almost like if you had a ring and the little prongs are holding a gem or something. And then we have B.1, a triangle. D.1, a triangle. C.1, it's jury's out on that one a little bit, but I see a triangle with some other little object here. And this overall thing could be, you know, just an overall craft or something happening. And look at there, looks like a little star shape or a delta happening in here as well. Now, just like a second later, a minute later, that's that same scene. And now we have more of an overall object happening. So we're going to take a look, and bam, here we go. Now it's like a bigger object, although I still see a triangle in here. And look at here, D.1, little truncated triangle, looks like it's zooming off with a trail behind it. E.1 looks like it's also one of these truncated triangular things that had zoomed off. And then this looks like that was our sphere, I think, that's heading out that way from the previous shot. This overall thing looks like something cloaking, because this looks like a stick, you know, with something flying out of it right here, like it's pushing something out. So a lot of questions going on here I have. I don't know if you see anything, and actually with any of these photos, if you just see a different angle than what I'm seeing, or just see something fun and fantastical and you want to make a comment, please, you know, do so in the comment section below. All right, here we go. This too, this was later on, but looking to the southeast, and it looks like a triangle and a sphere, so kind of similar to what we were seeing in that other scene. And at B.1, that's a ball, and this looks like a triangle. So see what you think is happening. I think there's even a triangle superimposed beyond it here. Just bizarre. There might be one in here as well. And this is the photo of the week and the close of the show. So I'd like to say thank you for looking into things here a while with me. This is just a glass of water, and there is a soda can behind it. So it was an interesting optical effect of magnification. Just looked interesting to me. So anyway, it is Monday where I am. Wherever you are in the world, have a beautiful start to the week, a gorgeous now, and know that I wish you tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.